Our guest this evening is Nancy Redstar. Her website is www.nancyredstar.com. Her book is called Star Ancestors, and I highly recommend the book. And I would like to welcome Nancy to the show this evening. Nancy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And what part of the country are you living in? Is it New Mexico?
Northern New Mexico, and your music is lovely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
I didn't know you were a musician.
Yeah, one of my vocations, I guess.
I believe it's in the Hopi prophecy that there will be a third great shaking, meaning the Third World War will go nuclear. It could be localized nuclear, but we're there. And at the same time, we're in this age of light, and there are many people that are regaining abilities and have understandings that they didn't have before.
You said that the two-hearted people, that I think you said that their heads are not connected to their heart. Was it the Mayans that described us that way?
No, it's drawn on a rock at Oribe. Their heads are not connected to their bodies.
Really?
And they actually, on the rock, and this is the prophecy rock, they actually go off to oblivion, meaning now we're going to see the increase in their behavior and their actions in terms of war, because war is necessary for their profitability. And we'll see it continue, but we're also going to see their downfall within these next years. It's inevitable. I believe it's written that this will happen, And again, we're going to move into another world, and I don't believe that it'll be like the one we're in now, be based on on human principles.
And at the beginning of the show, you talked about the purifier. Can you tell us more about what needs to be purified and who or what is the purifier?
Well, I couldn't say much more than that, because I'm not privy to the inner circle of that knowledge, but I only know what was given to me, and it was given to me from one of the people who worked with the Hopi. And it's a diagram. It's on a piece of fabric. And the purifier, these two, I would encourage anybody to go back through Art Bell's archives around the year 2000 or 1999. He did an interview with two Hopi elders who spoke. One was a translator and the other spoke only Hopi. And they talked about the purifier, and they said the purifier has the high technology, meaning above our technology. And that is written, that is what he said. And that's all he said. And so I believe him, and leave it at that there are other worlds out there, and there are other universes, and there are other communities of beings that are more highly evolved than we are. I mean, that's pretty obvious. If you look at what's going on here, in the evolution of humankind, we have to make this leap away from war in order to evolve.
Right.
It's not just a cycle, It's an actual evolution. And, many people say, well, people have been warring and killing each other forever and ever and ever. But this frequency that's supposed to come here has never been on this planet before. It's a different frequency, a higher frequency. So I guess it's my belief and my wish and my part of my dream track is that we can make that change in our evolution away from violence and war.
You mentioned Harriet Goodluck from the Navajo Nation in New Mexico. Can you tell us her?
Well, she was my first the first person I interviewed, and she's a very traditional woman, and had very strong feelings about what was going on in the world with the violence, with the domestic violence. As a matter of fact, that's what she said, is the whole world is in a domestic violence situation. But one of the things she was interpreting for me, because there's certain things in the old traditional way that you just can't pass through the wires. You're not supposed to. For instance, a woman I served here on Taos Pueblo, who was 104, she lived up in the Pueblo. It's on tiers, and she lived way up at the top. She had to go up a ladder to get up there at 104, and she had no running water, no electricity, and no wires. And she was holding on to the old law about not passing anything through the wires. And so I had heard through a gentleman from Santa Clara Pueblo about an incident that took place up near Big Mountain, where a woman, Irene Yazzie, had an experience with some of the deities coming to her and giving her instructions and warnings. And so I went up there to talk to Harriet so she could interpret it because it wasn't supposed to be passed on in writing. It was very private. There were a lot of medicine people that came from all over the country, and it was supposed to stay within at that time, that information. And so when I interviewed her, it was a while afterwards, she was able to tell me, and it's in the book, what that experience was, what happened with that woman, and what it meant to her people, to the Dene, and also to the world. And so that was very profound that she actually could interpret it for me. And I wrote everything by longhand at that time. I didn't use a computer for my books. I wasn't on the computer, so I didn't want to pass that through the wires. And that was the process, probably why that book is so... There's very little unauthentic, in there. I mean, the interviews themselves are very, very profound, very rich, and
they certainly are, very much.
I was amazed. Yeah, I had no idea what I was in for, what I was doing, really.
It's an awesome book. It
really is.
It stirs your imagination a lot.
It does. A lot of people put it near their bed, and they have, transmissions from it. There's a lot of power in there. I'm very happy that they are in 2012. They're reprinting it. It's run out, so they're going to do another run, which is good. I'm very happy about that, and I'm hoping that the film will encapsulate, because a lot of people don't read anymore. It's one of the unfortunate things about the time we're in. People just are not reading.
So you're making a film based on the book, correct?
Oh yeah, I've already pretty much finished it. I've got one more shoot I hope to do with Clifford Mahuti and some of the people up on Rosebud and Pine Ridge, and I'm hoping to do that in the spring. But other than that, yes, I have, and I just got an editor with Reels TV who is working with me, so I think I'm ready to edit it. I probably would have messed it up if I had done it before. It takes time to really understand. This subject is very sensitive.
It has to be a good